bad faith does is it lets you recover damages in excess of the policy, so you actually get your fair market values for your injury. Tremendous tool. This is one of the more, I would consider a very complicated topic. And the law of bad faith, it varies from state to state, and it varies from circumstance to circumstance. There are states like Florida, which have bad faith as a tort, right? So in the world of a tort bad faith, it means that if an insurance company does not follow the rules that they're supposed to follow, they put their interest ahead of yours, right? In those instances, again, there might be some statutory prerequisites that are required. You got to give them notice. You need to, file a claim with a governmental agency. But in many states, right, that's a tort of bad faith. And a tort of bad faith, you get to recover all your damages. So in many videos, we've used the hypothetical of the rear end collision. You're sitting in your car, somebody rear ends you, you give the insurance company notice, you tell the insurance company, I'm not at fault, I'm significantly injured, my medical bills are atrocious. Oh, and by the way, I lost a limb, God forbid, right? You write a letter to the insurance company in a bad faith state. If they, upon you giving them reasonable proof of what you just asserted, if they don't timely tender their policy within 30 days, depends again what the statute is. It's now 90 days in Florida, but use Florida as an example, they don't tender the policy, that's bad faith. What bad faith does is it lets you recover damages in excess of the policy, so you actually get your fair market values for your injury. Tremendous tool. New York. As progressive as New York is on its wage and hour laws, as wonderful I think New York is in its employment discrimination laws, New York on the bad faith side is atrocious. It is atrocious. Why do I say that? New York doesn't have a tort of bad faith. There was a case from 1994, and it's called Pavia v. State Farm, that said that. Bad faith it's a contractual issue, and you're only entitled to what's called contractual damages. And I'm going to give you a great example of what I mean by this. I had a case. It's against a certain insurance company. And this insurance company frequently, doesn't pay claims timely, disregards their rights and duties under let's say a no-fault regulation, right? I had a client who was seriously injured. Gentleman was rear-ended by a Verizon truck, and he never went back to work. Ended up with two-level disc fusion, right? So the underlying personal injury case with Verizon settled for a significant sum of money. I think I'm not sure if it's a confidentiality in terms of the amount it settled for. So I'm not gonna on this video tell you what it is, because I don't want to breach any confidentiality. I don't know if it exists, or well, I was the attorney on that. But I was hired to handle the no-fault claim, and the facts were just atrocious. The gentleman was told he'd be paid his money. They wrote him a check, and then they stopped payment on the check. They came up with a specious reason. They said nothing is related, and then they said, you'd improve your wages. The guy was a taxi driver. He made a significant sum of money. He stopped working, right? So I brought an action against this insurance company. I made, allegations of lost wages, which in New York, it's a $2,000 per month no-fault wage, up to 3 years. So it's a maximum with a basic policy of $72,000. So up to $72,000. I sought bad faith damages and some other damages, right? The insurance company did a lot of things, but for purpose of discussion, they moved to dismiss it. The trial court denied it. They appealed it. Now, on appeal, the appellate division, and again, this is an appeal in the pleadings, the appellate division didn't say that there wasn't bad faith. What they essentially said was that I pleaded tortious bad faith, meaning that they acted so improperly that my client's entitled to his entire aggregate amount of damages, right? Which to me, he should have gotten his additional pain and suffering, lost wages, future wages. To me, it was a multi-million-dollar claim, right? And the court said, again, they didn't say they didn't mean bad faith, but they said I pleaded tortious bad faith, and New York doesn't recognize tortious bad faith. So the bad faith counts of the complaint were stricken. So what bad faith does New York have? Well, let's change my situation. Let's just say, right, my client, he was involved in an accident. He was rear-ended. This insurance company decided they didn't want to pay his medical bills, they don't want to pay his wages, right? Let's say my client couldn't get medical treatment, had to borrow money at an exorbitant interest rate to get the medical treatment. That would be contractual bad faith, because that would be a damage that flows from the breach of the contract. Contract says we will pay you for any and all benefits, medical benefits arising from the accident up to the fee schedule amount, right? And then the allegation is, well, you didn't honor the contract. You did it grossly, recklessly, maliciously, with reckless disregard to my client's interest, which, these facts were just like right there, right? In that situation, because of that, and assuming my client couldn't afford treatment and had to borrow money, he would be entitled to bad faith damages, which would be the amount he had to borrow, right? So let's say, for instance, his, the fee schedule amount, right? Because New York has a fee schedule. So the fee schedule amount's 10,000, right? But let's say because he had to borrow money and he had to fund or otherwise finance his surgery, it cost him $200,000, right? In that instance, he would be entitled to his $200,000 because that would be bad faith damages. That's the best way I can explain it to you. As a practitioner, putting aside the fact that I do both plaintiff and defense work, and I clearly, have interest in both sides as to really the bad faith law, I would say that as a practitioner and as a general resident of New York, the law needs to be fixed. Insurance companies can't be treating insureds as if they're all criminals. I understand there's a lot of insurance fraud. I understand people are engaged in what they call secondary gain, which is essentially presupposing injuries that may or may not exist. I get all of that, and it does happen. But there are a lot of people, there are many of you that are watching this video, who are legitimately hurt from an accident, legitimately have pains, legitimately need surgeries. And an insurance company, recklessly and intentionally is engaged in a pattern and practice of just denying everything and engaging in affirmative litigation. There should be significant consequences. But as we sit here today in New York, the consequence is what I told you. So with that, I hope you've learned something about New York bad faith.